During an interview, Doug Bradley described hell as a prison, the Xenobites are the prison guards, Pinhead is the prison warden, the puzzle box is the key to the prison cell, and the demons are the escaped inmates. Okay, so this is my first time watching Hellraiser 1987. It's one of those films that flew by the wayside when I was young. I was busy watching films like Never-Ending Story. You're thinking! And the older sisters and brothers were watching films like this. I grew up in a Christian household, so it's a film that kind of passed me by. And I thought, you know what, as we have a new version of it, a kind of reimagining or remake, something in the world of the grand many Hellraiser films, I would check this out and see what all the hubbub is about. If you're still watching, please punch that like button and punch that subscribe button.
Like this.
And now that you've broken your screens, hopefully you can still see. A woman discovers the newly resurrected, partially formed body of her brother-in-law. She starts killing for him to revitalize his body so he can escape the demonic beings that are pursuing him. From the brilliant mind of Clive Barker, his imagination, his writing and his directing, that's what we get in this film. I will say this is a weird-ass film. The shot selections itself are dated, but in the best way possible. It's one of those films where people say, you know, they don't make them like they used to anymore.
They don't make movies like they used to.
This is definitely one that, harking back to the original creature features, what shines the best thing in this film, what shines the brightest is the creatures. The way the Xenobites are created, the way they look, real prosthetic makeup, the way they create, like reversing a body to becoming one or forming a body once again. I also wasn't scared at any point, so I imagine this would have been the thing that scared people a lot, like back in the day when The Exorcist came out. One of those films that I remember a lot of people talking about, going, this was a really creepy ass film. Now I don't know if I'm just jaded or the way we make films is different now, so we experience horror films through a different zeitgeist of what the world is watching. For me, I was enjoying the prosthetic makeup. It was gory in bits, but nothing that I haven't seen before or worse. Recently watched Project Wolf Hunter. That is the goriest film I've ever seen. Far gorier than this. However, I loved everything that this film had to show. It reminded me of why I like those original golden oldie horror films, reminiscing of The Thing and Poltergeist. Mixing those in together, adding a bit of weird romance, a wrong romance. And then we have a protagonist that reminds me, the daughter protagonist reminds me of the protagonist in the Nightmare on Elm Street film. So definitely ticking the right feeling, also with the score, kind of all of that, like nostalgic. Now, does it hold up to today's standards? I think it does, because of the type of film that it is. So there are definitely shot selections you'll look at this and going, why did they use that? I think for the budget they had with what they created, it was pretty fantastic for its day. Now looking at it for when it was made, fantastic. Looking at it now completely with the technology we have now, of course some of those things aren't going to hold out. But I think people will still go back and go, damn, that's pretty impressive what they created. Also weird, creepy, and some of those shots you're just like wondering what were they thinking at that moment. It's one of those that you want to buy the DVD and the Blu-rays for, because you want to know what they were thinking. You want to listen to the director's commentaries and the making ofs, some of those nuances that you want to hear why that's in the movie. For example, at around, I think it's 1 hour 4 minutes, when the engineer chases Christie, the trolley and crew pushing it are visible, which I think is great, the fact that that's in there. There are also a number of other edits, depending on what country released them, or what the laws were, what the age restrictions were. There are different versions of them. All in all, this has tantalized my taste buds for the Hellraisers. I think I might start watching the rest. I don't know how far I should go into them, because looking just at the posters of some of them that came later, they don't all look great, but I'm thinking maybe the second and third one. If you've seen them all, let me know how many I should watch. Are you excited for the new one? Understanding where it came from, when it was created, I'm gonna say this is a solid 3 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You can't say that on a cell phone.
I imagine it way back then, if I'd watched it when it first came out, that score might have been higher. But where I am right now, I enjoyed it as a first time watch. It was interesting, loved the prosthetic makeup, but can't say it's a great film. It's just an interesting, different horror film that came out in amongst those horror films. Let me know what you think of this. Do you love it? Do you think it's like the best movie ever? Thanks so much for watching it, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.